Finally, after 2 years of being Detroit Lions general manager, Brad Holmes finally did something that he had yet to do, which is draft a quarterback in the draft. And he actually took one in undrafted free agency as well. And it's a guy that we kind of thought we had a chance at, seeing as how he got hurt, and Hendon Hooker. But what will Hendon's role be when the season starts? Is he going to be number two? Is he going to compete with Jared Goff for the starter role? Well, I'm going to say that that's going to be no on the latter. He will not be competing with Jared Goff, and that is coming directly from Brad Holmes' mouth. There's not going to be a quarterback controversy or anything like that. But Hendon Hooker could possibly have that number two spot. I'm thinking that's why we took him when we did. Several reasons why, but we could have a legitimate backup. But my thing is, with Hendon Hooker being 25 years old, which was my biggest gripe on him, we knew that he had to come in and he was recovering from that injury. But you have a 28-year-old starter. He freshly turned 28. And then you have a 25-year-old who I believe will be turning 26 somewhere during the season to back him up as a rookie. So when Hendon Hooker is at the end of his rookie deal, he will be almost 30 years old, right? So now at 30 years old, he will be potentially going into his prime, but he has to have the ability to play. Now, there's not going to be any controversy this year, but intriguingly, Jared Goff is on the last 2 years of his 4-year deal. And I always said that if the Detroit Lions were going to replace Jared Goff at the end of his deal with us, that this would be the year to draft a quarterback. With Hendon Hooker being hurt, that allowed him to fall down to the third round, and we took him pretty much right after that third round started. But we were hearing rumors about him potentially going in the first round to get that fifth-year option. I'm sorry. So what's going to happen this year? What's going to happen in the future? Why did the Detroit Lions draft Hendon Hooker? Was it to be the backup, or was it to compete with Jared Goff? Well, I think that Brad Holmes made it very clear why we took Hendon Hooker. He says here, coming from FanSided, he's a good person. He's smart. He's very talented. He's had a unique journey, and he's overcame. Lions general manager Brad Holmes told reporters Friday night. So he just has to get healthy. I believe we have the right situation for him, where he can just sit back, develop, and get healthy. We're excited about his key word here, upside. Brad Holmes likes to use that word a lot. And expectations are clear for Hooker during his rookie season. We didn't draft him number 6 overall when we were there or anything like that. Holmes said he's got to get healthy and he's got to develop. And I think that is the point. He's got to develop. He's got to get healthy. We knew this if we took a chance on him, drafting him, that it was going to be a developmental situation. I'm glad they did this. This is something that all the regimes under Matthew Stafford never did. You can't call Brad Kaya a developmental quarterback. You can't call Jake Ruddock a developmental quarterback. And you certainly can't call bringing Dan Orlovsky back over and over and over the right situation when it comes to being a backup spot. Here's the curious thing. This is actually a two-edged, kind of a double-sided coin. Because on the one hand, you have Hooker recovering from the injury, needing time to develop, which is exactly what he can do under quarterback Jared Goff. And I remember specifically telling you that Jared Goff was going to complete his contract with the Detroit Lions, and I still think that's the case. Hendon will develop this year. I don't think we see him, even if Jared Goff is at his worst. We could see him on the back end of the year or something like that. What I think is going to happen is Jared Goff is possibly going to get extended. It's going to be one or two things. It's going to be either an extension or we're going to move on. And ironically, I tried to find some truth on this to validate this rumor here, but I think that this is coming from ML Football. Says the Detroit Lions are trending towards giving Jared Goff a new contract sometime in the next 15 months. and that is per Dave Burkett and of the Free Press. So it says Goff, a three-time Pro Bowler, seems to be the long-term answer in Detroit. Now, again, I do have a subscription to the Free Press. I actually clicked that link. I did not see an article. It doesn't mean it wasn't one written. I just didn't see it. But Jared Goff, if you did draft Jared Goff to be the long-term answer, and the Lions do intend to extend him after this year, which I think if they are going to do it, it is going to be after this year, then Hooker was what? Hendon was a backup at best, or what? So what we have to see if this happens, and I don't think we're going to see anything about an extension, especially not after drafting Hendon Hooker. There'll be nothing about an extension this year. This time next year, though, it's going to be one or two things. Either we're going to extend Jared Goff or we're going to move on from him. That extension, in my opinion, will happen before the season begins, because once it starts, neither side is going to want to be talking about an extension. We saw what happened with Lamar Jackson from during the season and after the season, and they just worked it out day one of the NFL draft. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think Hendon's role will be 2 years from now? Do you think he will be the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions? Do you think that the Detroit Lions will extend current quarterback, current starter, Jared Goff? Or do you think that he will be the backup? It'll be the same two quarterbacks 3 years from now as we go into 2020, the 2025 NFL season. I'm glad that the Detroit Lions did this, because now we have the luxury of having a good starting quarterback and one who could come in, win some games, and potentially take over the starting role. I will say this. I don't think Jared is going to be offended. I don't think his work ethic, his attitude, he's not going to be Ryan Tannehill. I don't think he's going to change anything about what he does. He knows that he's the starter. He fully intends to play his best football, and I still think he will, but I'm confident now that with the fully healed Hendon Hooker, the Detroit Lions are in better hands than they've been in the last 15 years. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. We are on our way to 11,000 subscribers. 10.7 is what I wanted to say, and we are 300 away. So maybe we can get there by this time next week. So if you haven't subscribed and you were around for the entire draft, consider subscribing. I would appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.